Max, your team have been busy in the summer. Are you happy with all the income? Is also a big outgoing with Douglas Luiz. Are you happy with that one as well, considering you had to sell someone?
Yeah, you're right. We had to sell someone, so it was hard. I think Villa fans were speaking at the start of the summer, and we were sort of saying, if you could pick someone, who would it be? And you didn't want to lose a really, really crucial player like an Ollie Watkins or an Emi Martinez. That was an absolute no-go in Ezri Konsa, anyone like that. So I think Douglas Luiz was probably the one that we'd all sort of settled on, and it was expected. It wasn't a shock to anybody. I think it was more than fair enough. I think there was talk as well that Luiz had a contract offer on the table that he hadn't signed as well. So I think it was more than fair enough, and I think it's benefited all parties. I think him going on to the next step at Juventus, absolutely fair enough. We signed him in that first summer when we got promoted, so it was absolutely fair enough. He served his time. He was a fantastic player, and he's developed to a different level. So I think it's expected. In terms of the incomings, there's been a lot. I don't think I expected it to be that much. I'm not sure. I think it's sort of unraveled over the summer, and we've had to do a lot of business because I think at the end of last season, it was a lot of, especially with the end of the Conference League, we probably went out of it because the squad depth was just obliterated and injuries obliterated us as well. So in terms of getting players in like a Ross Barkley, players who, Baranachea, the sort of player who came in as a sort of swap player with Douglas Luiz from Juventus, they're not going to come in and improve the squad directly. Maybe someone like a Matson or an Onana is there to do that, really increase the quality of the first side. I think a lot of what we did over the summer has got to be increasing that squad depth, and we've absolutely done that.
Have you got much business left to do, or do you think that's it for Aston Villa?
I'd be disappointed if that was it, to be totally honest with you. We have done a lot, but I would be disappointed if that was it. I think the main thing for me would be a centre-back. I think Villa are sort of working at this point now where we can't get players in unless we shift players. We've got a lot of deadwood there. You're looking at Dendoncker in midfield. We've got 3 left backs, 3 sort of starting 11 caliber left backs in Ian Matson, who's just come in, Luca Dean and Alex Moreno as well. You've got to shift one of them out. Diego Carlos at the back has absolutely got to go as well. And I think there was links to him going to Fulham, which seems to have quietened down a little bit, which is very worrying to me because he's got to go out the door. His value's only going down. He's 32, etc. So I'd love to see a centre-back come in. And then obviously there was links with João Felix as well, which I never really saw. I think it was well known that Emery was a massive fan of him, and it was always going to be a complicated deal. So that was always a long shot. But I think we could do with that sort of that style of play, that extra gem going forward in Villa's attack. I think if Ollie Watkins is out, we've seen in pre-season, he hasn't played a single minute of pre-season because obviously he was with the England squad and he didn't play in Dortmund with all the international boys. I'm not sure, maybe he was ill or whatever. But if Watkins is out, we really struggle. We haven't got a direct replacement. Duran is there, yes, and he would be that. But I'm sure as West Ham fans, you know all about him. And that obviously didn't happen with him going to you guys, which I would have been more than happy to see the back of him. But yeah, that's a whole separate talking point. But yeah, I think if we got a couple more in, a centre-back and an attacker, I'd be happy with that.
Well, let's talk about that separate talking point, please, Duran. What do you think about the player and what do you think about him? I guess 2 different questions, really.
Absolutely 2 different questions. I'm glad you asked it like that because I really, really, really like him as a player. I think there's so much talent there, and he's still raw. There's absolutely no doubt about that. He's been here, I think, 18 months now at Villa, and when he first came in, he came on the pitch like even in 5-6 minute cameos at the end of games. And Villa fans are like, whoa, who's this guy? Where have we got him from? Because he's just so unique. And I think on his debut when he was, 18, 19, when he came on, he was more than happy to elbow players and shove players into the crowd. Like he absolutely loved that. And I think he likes being that guy. He likes having the attention on him. And it's annoying because he's got so much potential there. And what he did last season was he absolutely started to contribute goals as well. He's played a bit in the Conference League. He scored an absolute rocket against Ajax, scored a late goal against Crystal Palace, which was one of the goals of the season in the Premier League. He was really good, and you can really tell there's quality there. Just as a guy, I've heard a lot of things that he doesn't really show a lot of respect behind the scenes. And if the manager asks him to do 10 sit-ups, for example, as a punishment, he'll just say no, which is a bit, it's not great. And I don't think Duran has the best people around him. And I don't think he realizes how good he's got it. I think if he wants to go and play first team football, that's admirable. But you're not going to get in over Ollie Watkins. He's one of the best strikers in the Premier League. And look, Duran's still early 20s, so it's not like he's pushing it. And it's a time where he has to go and play football. Like just calm down, study under one of the best managers in Europe. You're playing in the Champions League now. Just calm down a little bit. So it's frustrating. I'd love nothing more than for Duran to sort of get his head screwed on and sort himself out. I'd absolutely love that because without doubt, there's a player there.
So you're willing to give him a third chance, but let's just say second chance. Are you willing to have him remain at Aston Villa this season? Because I understand why, but there's a lot of Aston Villas that just want him gone. But are you very much open-minded in regards to keeping him?
I'm not sure. I think it depends what Emery thinks. I think if he's had enough of him, then that's that for me. I'd love him to sort of sort it out because I'm such a massive fan of the player, and I hope he does do that. I think he's going to have opportunities this season. We're going to play a lot of games and he will get opportunities, especially. I mean, Ollie Watkins has got a fantastic injury record, but you never know. We've had 3 ACLs last season. You just can't sort of prepare for these things, so you never know. And I'd love Duran. I think he's the perfect backup player, absolute perfect backup player. And even as an impact substitution, he's fantastic. You've got the sort of likes of Cam Archer, who's the player who needs to have 90 minutes and get momentum. That's what we're dealing with at the moment. Whereas Duran, you can give him 10 minutes and it's an absolute guarantee that he's going to cause problems and score goals. Again, another example, Liverpool game at Villa Park last season where he got 10 minutes and scored a brace and it was 3-3. Like, he's just that wild card of a player. So yeah, I'm going to give him another chance. I think you've got to. I don't see him going anywhere. I think West Ham would have been sort of our chance there. I think if they'd stumped up a few more million, then Villa would have taken it, absolutely. But if Villa do get that deal, I think they'll let him go. But I don't think they'll do it happily because they know there's potential there.
In Duran's defence, if someone told me to do 10 sit-ups, I would also refuse. So I can see where he's coming from in that regard. It's a no from me as well. Looking ahead to the season, what's your expectations as a Villa fan?
I think it's so hard. I'm not sure. I think we could easily, well, I say easily, we could do the same again and come fourth, but then I can see us coming 10th as well. I think it's such a hard one to call. I think it's beneficial that Villa had the Conference League last year because we know what it takes to play in Europe now, despite obviously I know Champions League is a completely different calibre. But in terms of getting back on a Tuesday, Wednesday night, preparing for the weekend, those quick turnarounds, and we've got the absolute perfect manager to do that, I think it's going to be outrageous, or it's going to be outrageous for us to get fourth again. I don't see us doing that. Maybe Champions League will be fifth with a coefficient. You don't know this year, but I think if Villa can get in those Europa League spots, I'd absolutely take that and have a decent run in the Champions League. I think with the new format, it's going to take a bit of getting used to, but obviously there's more games in the Champions League now. If we come in the top 24 out of that 36 giant league, we progress into a playoff round. So I'd take that right now. I don't think that's against the realms of possibility. I'd take that 100%, but I said 7th. I think Villa will get 7th, but it could easily go either way.
I think that's quite a grounded response. I think my expectations for Villa are probably slightly greater than yours, truth be told. It's the way sometimes, isn't it? Right, 7. Do you think you'll make it into the knockouts of the Champions League?
Yeah, I think so. I think I'm looking forward to the draw. I think we'll get some spankings along the way. Like, I'm not blind to that. I think, you know, we could get humbled at times, and that's absolutely expected. There's some unbelievable quality sides in the Champions League. We all know that. But also, I think there's winnable games in there. And Villa showed last year that we can compete with the big boys when we're on fire. Beating Arsenal twice without conceding a goal. Beating Man City with, if you look at the stats from that game, they were outrageous. Pep has never been dominated that much. So I think I'd fancy us against anybody in the Champions League at Villa Park because those nights are going to be absolutely special and ones that I won't forget as a fan. Away from home, you never know. But yeah, we'll see. Fingers crossed we can make it through.
I think you'll do it as well. I do. I think you've got the good manager and you've got a good squad. Last season, you would have had players that hadn't played in European football before picking up that experience. Like you said, it's a different competition, but the logistics remain the same in regards to staying away from your family and stuff like that. The changes to a human's behaviour has already been impacted. So I do think that will benefit you. And I think it helped West Ham when we had 3 seasons of European football. I think we did get used to it. I think the players managed better in the second term and the third term just because they'd had that experience before as well. Right then, for West Ham fans that perhaps haven't been keeping up to date with you, how's your pre-season gone? Are you prepared for the new season, or is it a little bit sketchy?
Sketchy, to say the least. I think Villa fans have been arguing in the pre-season, how much can you read into it, whatever. Yeah. And I've already hinted to the fact that Watkins hasn't played a single minute. Emi Martinez, the number 1, and obviously Ezri Konsa, our best centre-back, have only literally just come back last week. So it's hard to tell. We're playing without a striker in pre-season. You've got so many new signings who are playing, who probably won't play that much throughout the season. So it's a bit of an unknown. I think it's hard to tell. I think last year Villa, despite losing 5-1 on the opening day, we made a really, really good start. And then we sort of faded towards the end of the season. We were quite lucky to get into that top 4 thanks to Tottenham and other sides not doing as well. So we'll see. I think it's entirely plausible that Villa have a slow start. I don't think that's totally unreasonable, and I think we're all sort of prepared for that. Yeah, I think it's hard. I think it's hard because it's such an unknown with the signings, players coming back, injuries as well. We're missing Boubacar Kamara, who's out with an ACL at the moment, who'd absolutely be in the starting 11 without a doubt. I think there are shining lights as well. Morgan Rogers, who came in from Middlesbrough in January, has been an absolute revelation. Unai Emery's taken him under his wing, and he's had a brilliant pre-season. The Middlesbrough fans were quite shocked that Villa paid as much as just over 10 million for him with add-ons, etc. But he's been an absolute revelation. I think this season, wider Premier League fans will start to take note of him. Jacob Ramsey's coming back from injury as well, which is a huge plus. So yeah, there's a lot of unknowns going into the season. So I can see the opening day against West Ham going a number of ways.
Yeah, sketchy for Villa maybe, but at least you've had a good time out in Dortmund.
Oh, loving it. Yeah, I've been loving it in pre-season. I always love to do the trips. When we didn't have Europe as fans, we'd always look forward to that one abroad pre-season game we've had the week before the season. This year we had Dortmund in the sun. It was absolutely fantastic, and hopefully that's a sort of a sneak preview to what we're going to have in the Champions League in terms of our trips away.
Right, we're going to talk about my team in a second, but for those who are unaware who Max is, he has a YouTube channel called Villa on Tour, and he's been recording his journeys out around pre-season. I watched a couple of them myself, so they are really good. So the link to Max's channel is in the description below. You want to go see a Villa fan having fun abroad watching a sketchy football team. His words, not mine. Right, West Ham, what do you make of our transfer business this summer?
I think it's been interesting. I think with Lopetegui coming in, it's a bit of an unknown, isn't it? I don't know how he's going to set up or whatever, but I think there's some decent signings in there. Somerville had a fantastic year in the Championship last season. He's going to be an exciting one for sure, linking up with Bowen. I think that's exciting. The striker from Dortmund, who we chatted before we came on about how to pronounce it, Füllkrug. I'll go with that.
Yeah, Füllkrug. You did all right there. Yeah.
Not bad. I think he's
up and said Füllkrug and just let you pronounce that. I could have
probably said it about 5 times different ways so far, but I think he's someone who could definitely cause Villa problems. I think defensively is where I'd worry about us. Balls into the box. Pau Torres isn't the best in the air. He's obviously better with the ball at his feet when Villa are in possession. So he's someone that could undoubtedly cause Villa problems, as we'd seen with Mikel Antonio has caused Villa problems before as well. So I think it's been decent. Kilman at the back as well is a very decent signing. So yeah, I'm impressed. A lot have come in, so I'm excited to see how they get on.
What are you expecting from West Ham this season?
I think we might be in a similar place, maybe West Ham slightly below Villa. I think we'll be sort of competing for similar things potentially, maybe Villa just ahead. But I don't know how you feel about it, but maybe competing for those sort of 6th or 7th spot. I think that would be a decent season. But then again, with a new manager, could easily finish mid-table. It's a hard one to call, I guess.
Yeah, the advantages are we've done some good business. I think we already had a good starting 11 to work with anyway before upgrading and adding to that. We've got no European football this season. I think that will benefit us because whilst I think some of the players did get used to it, it still causes you bother. Coming the end of the season, we did have to, especially when you get to the latter stages. And last season, during those latter stages, we were competing to qualify for European football again. So it's not like we could rest in the Premier League. We couldn't. We had to play our strongest team. And then on the Thursdays, we couldn't rest then. We had to play our strongest team. So we kept on just playing the same players. And by the time you get to it, they're all just shot. They're absolutely rinsed. So this season, I think there will be a massive benefit to not playing European football. Yeah. We don't leave London until November.
I saw that. That's crazy. That is.
I mean, our first 3 months, all the games are in London. So in terms of logistics, Lopetegui's got it ideal. Like, there's almost no excuse. One thing I have a bit of sympathy with Moyes for is he came in, he had 6 months. The following season, we finished 6th, qualified for Europa League. After that, with 3 seasons of European football, you don't get much time on the training ground as a manager with your players. You're just constantly on the move. I think Lopetegui needs that time on the training ground to implement this new style and integrate new signings. So I think no European football will be a blessing. But to counteract that, I think because it's a new manager, new style, so many new signings, I think it's going to take a little time for us to gel and get up and running. However, I think come the end of the season, I don't think we'll be too far off you. I always use last season I used Newcastle as a barometer, which is wherever Newcastle are. If we're not far away, we're probably having a good season because I think Newcastle, and I'll be doing the same with Newcastle this season. If we're not too far away from them, we're doing all right because I think they will also do well without European football. I can't read my own writing. Yes, I can. Saturday, how do you see this game going?
Yeah, I mean, it could literally go any way, genuinely. I think Lopetegui, like we've just discussed, we don't know what to expect from West Ham. It's probably more West Ham sort of know what to get from Villa. I think that's fair. We don't normally do. Well, every time I come on your channel, I always say Villa have a terrible record at West Ham, which is true. I don't like going there, as you can imagine, as an away fan. So I don't know. I think 5:30 under the lights. I'm not sure. It's hard to tell. I don't think a point would be the end of the world for Villa. I think I'd take that now. We've got Arsenal at home 5:30 again the following week, so that's a tough one as well. And then we've got Leicester away after that. So I think if Villa can take sort of 4 points out of that wouldn't be too bad. I think 5 would be really, really good. But yeah, I wouldn't be too disappointed with the points at the weekend, because West Ham have attributes in their team that could absolutely cause Villa problems in terms of those big players, cause Villa issues from set pieces. We loved conceding a goal from set pieces last season. It was chaos, wasn't it, in the game at the London Stadium last year with that VAR call right at the end. It's always an interesting game between us, and Villa don't often come out on the right side of it. So yeah, it could go any way at the weekend, but I'd probably take a point.
Crystal ball time. I want a score prediction from you, Max. What are you going for?
Sitting on the fence, mate. I'm going to sit on the fence and go with a 1-1 or 2-2, but I'll go with 1-1. I think Villa will probably score first, and then we'll probably be hanging on at the end to try not to lose the game. But I'll go 1-1, and I'll take it.
Yeah, I think there'll be goals as well, and I'd be okay with a point. I think for this one, I think we've got yourselves and Palace away, then Man City at home. So I think roughly the same points target as what you've got for your 3 fixtures. I think 4 would put us in good stead moving into the other fixtures as well. So it's a tough start for us, tough start for Lopetegui. But I think this is the right time to play Aston Villa. But I think this is the right time to play West Ham as well. So it should be interesting. I think there's going to be goals on Saturday night. Anyway, if you guys at home have enjoyed this video, please do drop a like on it by clicking the thumbs up. Also, subscribing to Hammer's Chat. Go check out Villa on Tour. Links in the description below. And Max's latest video will be on your screen in approximately 5 seconds' time. But Max, thank you very much.
Nice one. Thank you, mate.
We'll catch you in a bit.